Going in, folks, because on today's show, we are talking about countries canceling their F-35 contracts. We are talking about Michael Barrett's recent announcement, just minutes old, folks. And we are going to go through and read some of the Polymarket. Check that out, because Polymarkets are quoted as some of the most reliable polling. Guys, this is Parmesan. Welcome to Niagara Due North. Da, da, da. Da, 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 da. Good morning, folks. I'm your host, Parmesan, and this is Niagara Due North, where we bring you the latest Canadian news with a bit of spice. Now, before I get into today's video, can you please like and subscribe down below? It really helps my channel. As a viewer, I honestly didn't think that it made that much of a difference, but go visit my channel and you can see how much of a difference likes and comments actually make on a video. Now, the first story that we're going to get into is Bill Blair and Mark Carney setting to review the Lockheed Martin contract. And this has picked up so much steam that they're influencing a lot of European countries to go ahead with it, and Portugal is walking in lockstep with Canada on this. Could it be Trump's Achilles heel? Probably not. We're going to a trade war with the United States. We have almost as much debt as their GDP, for Christ's sakes, man. Okay? People think that this is smart. Elbows up, guys, right? Elbows up. So Lockheed Martin is looking to lose out on over 500 planes. Okay? This boycott of Lockheed Martin is affecting over 500 planes. Okay? Saudi Arabia can easily buy 100 of those. That leaves 400 left for a couple other countries to pitch in on. I don't think this is going to affect America too much. People need to realize that this is a cliff, and we are but humans with pickaxes, and we're trying to knock this cliff down. I don't know why it's so hard for people to just negotiate and sit down with them, but this is the narrative that the left is choosing to create, and that's why I'm choosing to say that they're trying to fight for the WW. And that's what I'm going to that's my thing on that. Comment down below. Is the left looking to start a WW? Next on our story, guys, there are some prominent ex-personalities out there who say that they don't even watch the polls. Polling is a bunch of garbage. I follow suit with that. But at the same time, these people are extremely loyal to Polymarket. And for good reason, too. Polymarket was the most accurate pollster during the Trump campaign. And it's not even a pollster. Okay? A lot of people say that when people are putting their money where their mouth is, they're going to care a lot more about the answers and the outcomes that happens. So a lot of people tote that as a very high accuracy margin for Polymarket. Okay, now I have problems with Polymarket. I'm going to go over these problems now. Okay? All of this right here. Do you see all of this? Liberal Party, the Bloc. Conservatives, Liberals, Bloc, NDP, Green Party. This is which party wins the most seats in the election. And we have a 54-46 split. Okay? Now, when you come down here, this is my problems with it. First and foremost, other, $500,000. People's Party, $500,000. Green Party, $350,000. NDP, $350,000. The big three, which is supposed to be the NDP, but it's the Bloc. The big three. Oh, the Bloc has more money than all of them. Okay, so That doesn't sound like accuracy to me. That doesn't. I could be wrong about all this. I've been asking. I asked Grok. I didn't get quite the answer that I was looking for. I messaged government.gov.exe on Twitter, pretty much the personality that I'm referencing in this video. He didn't message back. But, of course, I am but an invisible, lonely bot on X, okay? Please follow me on X. Description below. So, when I see things like this, first of all, the numbers are extremely small. Okay? And if I'm George Soros, or if I am King Charles, I wipe my ass with the amount of money it would take to manipulate this poll. Okay? I'm just saying. I am just saying. Okay, what else? Another point that I wrote down. This is a website, folks. This is a website. This website doesn't call Canadians and ask them their opinions on certain things. Okay? Just like the Liberal Party, a 14-year-old Chinese girl can come onto Polymarket and, depending on the wealth of her family, drop a considerable amount on the Liberals, let's just say. Okay? So, this has a lot of discrepancies in it, okay? That does not negate the fact that it was the most accurate pollster during the Trump campaign, okay? So, I'm giving you mixed messaging about it, but I'm concerned about all the polls, and I'm concerned about this poll as well. I also don't like X polls, right? The only people that ever vote in those polls are the people following the person making the poll, so everything always skews to a 99-to-1 ratio, right? Who is the next prime minister of the election? This is the big one. This is the one that everyone looks to. It has a pool of $13 million. Total. This goes Mark Carney, Chrystia Freeland, Jagmeet Singh. Justin Trudeau is still on here. And this is what I'm talking about. How is this accurate? Justin Trudeau shouldn't be on there. Jagmeet Singh should have $0. And what I'm saying is, these people, are they leaving their money in with Jagmeet Singh because they know they lost and they don't care? Why aren't they pulling their money out and putting it on Mark Carney? Right? And look at, why does Jagmeet Singh have more money funding his pool, than Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre? I would love to use these metrics like they matter, because look, like, Mark Carney only has 1.7 million, Pierre's got 2.4, and Chrystia Freeland's got 2 million. But you see things like Jagmeet Singh getting 5 million. What's up with that? That tells me someone's trying to manipulate the Polymarket. Okay? Guys, $5 million for a billionaire is toilet paper. Right? If all you need is 10% of that, you can manipulate a poll. Okay? My next biggest problem with Polymarket. Okay? See this spike right here? See that dip and spike right there? See all these dips and spikes right here? If I'm betting in this, I'm not betting for Pierre to win. I'm not betting for Mark Carney to win. Okay? I am putting my money on February 26th at 7 a.m. I am putting my money to hope that the news comes out with something with something very good about Pierre Poilievre or something very bad about Mark Carney. Because what will happen is something good about Pierre or something bad about Mark Carney will shoot up Pierre. And then I'll sell. Okay? So This doesn't tell me who's going to win. This tells me that there's a lot of people out there voting for Pierre, or who are waiting to vote for Pierre, to get a good news cycle. And then he's going to shoot up, and then they'll pull out. Okay? Just saying. That could have been what this is. See this right here? February 12th, 7 a.m. This spike right here looks an awful lot like a whole bunch of people pulling out of Pierre Poilievre and putting money into Mark Carney. Okay. What happened February 11th? I can't remember. February 15th was Flag Day. Right? Let's go to the 15th. Got a bump. Yeah, just as I thought. He got a bump from the Canada First rally. Wasn't much of a bump. It was what? 4%? Right? What's a percentage in this? Oh man, I can do that. Calculator. How much is the pool? I'm not going to be crazy. 13.5 million. Okay. 3,500,000. There you go. Divide by 100. That's 135,000. I could have done that without a calculator, guys. I'm so sorry. $135,000 per percentage mark. Okay. And to make... Wow. To make Mark Carney tied with Pierre Poilievre right now would cost a donor just $220,000. No. 13, 27, $300,000. $350,000 to give Mark Carney a bump, a boost. Okay? Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot for you and me. If we go down to the comments, that's a lot for the average pollster. But if I'm trying to manipulate the polls, if I'm from the World Economic Forum trying to manipulate the polls to have the public think Mark Carney's going to win and drop support for Mark Carney, $350,000 between me and a couple buddies is a tax write-off. Okay? Beware what you see in the polls, folks. Okay, especially like if you hear that Justin Trudeau is funding the CBC $1.6 billion a year, how can you believe what they're telling you? Right? Stop believing the mainstream media, folks. Thank you. Now, let's move on to today's top story. Michael Barrett comes out today and scorches Mark Carney in a way that forces the media to have to scrutinize him on this. It's cool. It's cool, guys. Coffee. I put hot chocolate in my coffee. Let's get right into it, okay?
Now, with Brookfield, Mr. Carney won't say what his financial interests are, saying only that he's put his assets into a blind trust. Now, that might work for regular stocks, but what we have here is Mark Carney's benefiting from assets that generate carried interest. The $15 billion Global Transition Fund, the $10 billion Second Global Transition Fund, and the $2.4 billion Catalytic Transition Fund. And I want to offer a quote from the CEO of Brookfield Asset Management. Put simply, carried interest is our share of the profits realized on an entire fund, subject to that fund exceeding a minimum target return for clients. If we meet fund expectations, we get 20% of the profits. That's from the CEO of Brookfield Asset Management. Now, why does that matter? When it comes to public office holders, like the Prime Minister and like ministers, they're supposed to recuse themselves from anything that would cause them to be in a conflict of interest.
They can't leave that hanging. That's a crazy accusation. This dude is not Justin Trudeau, right? How many times are we going to hear that? Justin Trudeau had a couple stocks to put away in a blind trust. Okay. Mark Carney's smarter than that. Okay. Mark Carney is smarter than that. And he's got these things. Because who cares? Yeah, no, everything went in a blind trust. Yeah, don't worry about that. As he sneakily what are these funds? As he sneakily just moves money around into his funds in and out. Bankers, well-connected bankers like him too, also have friends that'll hold on to his money for him, wink wink. Right? I think he is the exact reason why we shouldn't have people like him come into politics. After that was the only significance of the whole thing, okay? Was him labeling that out. After that, it goes to questions, okay? I am, unimpressed with politicians answering questions. And this is Michael Barrett, man. I got nothing against him whatsoever. He's one of my favorite MPs. But one of these questions took him 4 goddamn minutes. 4 minutes to answer. First question, please.
Got into politics to get rich. Wouldn't it just make more sense for him to stay at Brookfield if he was only interested in making money?
See, I'll answer that question for us all, okay? Now, that is not true. Because what he needs specifically, Brookfield Asset Management, okay? What they need, and specifically other net zero initiative trust funds and asset managements, need government funding. Brookfield doesn't pivot off of its net zero thing, it'll die. Because it needs government funding. It needs contracts from the government because there's not enough private companies doing net zero initiatives. That's why these people go around and threaten people. ESG, DEI have all surfaced from empty threats brought on by asset management companies saying that they're not going to like what happens when the world goes net zero and they're going to miss out. So what they need to do is go to governments and convince governments to create NGOs and funds to put towards net zero initiatives so companies like Brookfield can come along and invest in these companies, soaking up all the profits they make from the government funding. Do we get it? Do we get it? Brookfield cannot get rich off of normal investments. It needs government funding.
What do you want him to do? Do you want him to give up this money that comes from the carried interest? Like, concretely, what would satisfy you?
Mr. Carney needs to be
I can't even let him answer. These people got me fired up. What do you want him to do? Just sell all his money? It's what they want Elon Musk to do. It's what they want every other billionaire to do. This is the only elitist that comes along that gets to keep all his money. Every other billionaire has to get rid of all their money, tax the rich, and this guy gets away with everything because he's the left's favorite pet right now? That's bull. I can't believe that question just came out. I watched this interview like 5 times, and I even clipped this question, and that didn't pop out to me. That's frustrating. She's sticking up for this guy to keep all of his money. No, you want to run the country, you get rid of all of your money.
Transparent with Canadians. Now, if he wants to avoid the conflict of interest, he should divest, and not divest into a blind trust. It would mean that he would need to sell those assets, not to forfeit those assets or the payments that come from these carried interest assets to him.
Awfully nice thing to say of Michael Barrett, right? When this guy should get rid of everything. You shouldn't be allowed to have anything. Elect me, okay? We should be having people like me. Think about this. Why do you need an expert to run the government if he just hires experts? Right? This is the problem, right? I can run this country, and I can run this country very well, because I'm poor as fuck. I don't spend an extra dime that I don't have to, okay? This country does not run on a tighter budget than me, okay? I also know what Canadians need. I'm poor. I know what I need. I know what my neighbors need, and I know what my friends need. Even Michael Barrett here, he doesn't know what I need. He's rich. Pierre's rich. They're all rich. They don't know what we need. Pierre, has been touring, has been seeing things. He sees the lineups at the food shelters, right? Stuff like that. But even then, do you talk to somebody in that line? No. He doesn't know what they need, right? Moving on, folks. I don't think I'm going to do it. The 4-minute answer.
Asking Michael just about, we've all seen the polls. I know politicians don't like to comment on polls except for the election day one. Nonetheless, the polls have narrowed. Clearly some Canadians are looking at the potential prime ministers and making a different choice than they might have made 6 months ago. And I wonder if you have some thoughts about why the Liberals might be back in the game. Is it because, for example, that Canadians don't know enough about the implications of this conflict of interest, the potential conflict of interest, or what other things do Canadians maybe need to consider about Mr. Carney, aside from what you've presented today?
Well, a couple of things. It's not surprising.
That was a really good question. It would have been a really nice question to get an answer from. I don't know what he should do. We're just citizens, man. The polls could all be lying. Like I've been saying, the polls could all be lying, and Pierre's not changing because his internal numbers still say he's at 45% and the Liberals are at 18%. We don't know that. Okay? We are watching the Liberal machine in full force, in overdrive. When they lost America, they went balls to the walls on Canada because this island is extremely important to this next century. God, we all have suggestions as to what Pierre should do, and one of the biggest things is he should probably listen to us. The one thing that he should do that encompasses all.
Carbon tax, your party seems to be accusing the Prime Minister of not actually getting rid of it and raising questions about the document that was signed on Friday. What's your argument there?
So Mark Carney isn't able to unilaterally repeal legislation. So this is the exactly. And so as noted by this member of the media, Mark Carney is not repealing the carbon tax.
That was such a dumb question that another journalist just answered it for her.
And he's not able to do that because it's required that Parliament passes that law. Now, if there was a commitment from the Carney-Trudeau Liberals to do this, they would have done it in Parliament. But the fact is that 100% of Mark Carney's cabinet ministers have voted more than a dozen times for the carbon tax. These are the same Liberals.
So there you have it, folks. Michael Barrett comes out once again. This guy has been cold, solely responsible for any narrative the Conservatives have been pushing out this year. Him and Michelle Garner, okay? Thank you to them. Michael Barrett has some work to do on answering questions, but what do you think, folks? Was this what the media needed to start finally going after Mark Carney? I don't think so. But comment down below, and I will see you guys all tomorrow on Niagara Due North.